Very glad to hear Hillary Clinton calling for putting all of this out on the table. Why doesn't she ask her senior aide to release all these emails? I mean, why doesn't she go ahead and release all the 33,000 emails that she did not turn over to the FBI and to the Congress initially? I mean, I think the American people have a right to know. But the decision by the FBI here, I think, is encouraging to millions of Americans.
Now, this is an unprecedented move, as your folks were describing earlier, because it happens close to an election, which is in violation of normal Justice Department protocol. And it involves talking about an ongoing investigation, which also violates the protocol. And as far as we know now, Director Comey knows nothing about the content of these emails.
Hillary Clinton can put this all to rest today by asking Huma Abedin to tell us all what is in those emails. We know that this is an investigation because her husband is sexting a 15-year-old girl in North Carolina. That's how we got back to this place. This is not the vast right-wing conspiracy. This is not the RNC or the Trump campaign. It's Huma Abedin's husband.
As I said yesterday, it was long on innuendo, short on facts. So we're calling on Mr. Comey to come forward and explain what's at issue here. You know, so far there's no charge of wrongdoing. There's no charge even that Hillary and the reporting that backs it up coming from anonymous law enforcement sources indicates it may not be about her server.
At the Sunday show wrap-up, and you saw a somewhat, I guess, impassioned John Podesta, the manager of the Clinton campaign, closing it out, trying to offer what I guess we might call in polite company pushback. We're not pushing back. We're welcoming you back to America Talks Live. Our reminder to you that you can join the conversation at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. We are rejoined from Newsmax, New York, by attorney Christi Kunzig. And we are also joined from Newsmax, Washington, by the former director of the GOP Trust, Scott Wheeler. Now, let's go. I tell you, the phone calls are lining up. And let's go first to Detroit, where Mr. Trump is scheduled to appear today. Tony is on the line from Motown. Tony, welcome to America Talks Live.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
Good. I got a question. Well, two questions for you. You know, 650,000 emails, that's a lot. I mean, that's volumes. And then I was wondering, could that be maybe on the so-called lost laptop that was sent in the mail? And then also, without Huma Abedin being seen for, 4 days or so since the story broke, do you think maybe she's in a country that has no extradition treaties because she knows there's a lot on there that, can really tie her up in jail for a long time?
I'm going to turn to our panelists for that, but before I do so, Tony, let me ask you a question. With Mr. Trump coming into Michigan, what are you hearing from friends and neighbors there? Does it look like the tide is turning in Michigan in favor of Mr. Trump, or is it still pretty solid for Hillary?
Well, truthfully, I think it's always been pretty 50-50. There's just a lot of quiet Trump voters out here because, there's, Wayne County is pretty liberal, and, if you say you're voting for Trump, there's a lot of people go against you. And, you could be damage to your vehicles or whatever. So there's a lot. I think it's been 50-50 for a long time, actually.
All right. We'll see what happens, Tony, and stay with us. Check in again from Detroit. We appreciate the perspective. Scott Wheeler, first to you. We have there is such an age of cynicism here. We heard that Huma Abedin was hunkered down in New York, and the FBI search warrant came through. We have no reason to believe she's taken a powder, and yet there is Tony in Detroit saying, gee, would she flee and go somewhere where the U.S. doesn't enjoy extradition? Do you think that's within the realm of possibility?
I would say anything's possible at this point. I likely think she feels protected here right now because Obama is still the president and Loretta Lynch is still the Attorney General, the two people who helped cover this original FBI investigation up. So she probably feels pretty secure, at least for the moment.
All right, let me turn to you, Christy, since you're there in New York, and that is where Miss Abedin is apparently still stationed. I would imagine the chatter you have heard from friends and neighbors mirrors what's going on in the country. How much interest did this story generate when it broke on Friday on through today? Was it the subject of weekend chatter from friends and neighbors?
Absolutely. This has really taken over the conversation. This is all anyone has been talking about. And I do want to say that I also agree with Scott, that I don't think that she's going to be leaving anywhere anytime soon. She really has the whole Clinton machine on her side, so she probably feels like she could sit here and be pretty safe.
All right. Well, let's go to polling that is not safe for Mrs. Clinton. Taking a look now at some of the battleground states. In Florida, according to the latest surveys, Mr. Trump leads by 4 points, 46 to 42. In Pennsylvania, and this is very interesting, YouGov has been touting a tracking poll, but actually, when you take a closer look, it now appears that Mr. Trump is moving up. One poll has it now at 47 to 46, and in the state I represented in the Congress of the United States, Arizona, Trump is ahead by 2 percentage points, 44 to 42%. Speaking of Arizona, let's go out to Buckeye, Arizona, where Lee is on the line. Lee, welcome to America Talks Live. Hello, Lee. Lee, are you there? I think we lost Lee, but we do have a chance to talk about another important state. I may have represented Arizona, but I'm a North Carolina native. And here's the latest polling from the Tar Heel State. Take a look at it. Mr. Trump, according to Remington Research, also leads that state by 2 percentage points. Scott Wheeler, Al Hunt, writing for Bloomberg, says that North Carolina is the new bellwether state. Might Al have a cogent point, at least in terms of this year's electoral count lineup?
You know, it's curious. I don't see North Carolina necessarily as a bellwether state because it is on the East Coast, and it does have an enormous the research triangle there with the universities and the science aspect and the companies involved in science and research located there kind of change its dynamic a little bit. So it wouldn't have so much in common with the Midwest, like states like Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, et cetera. It probably has more in common with states like New Mexico, and its demographics are changing really slowly. So it's interesting. I mean, it does have an African American population there that is gaining in representation. So it could be changing for that reason, but I don't really see it as a bellwether.
Fair enough. Let's go back to the phones. We've linked up now with Lee from Buckeye, Arizona. Lee, welcome. We've only got about a minute and a half, so make your point if you would, please, ma'am.
Good morning, J.D. We're out here in your old stomping ground.
Yes, you are.
We were able to go to the Trump rally on Saturday, and how wonderful it was to see how full our basket of deplorables was.
A big crowd there. I heard the estimate was around 10,000. Was that right? Or was it larger?
Yes, sir, it is. It may be even a little more, maybe even up to 12,000.
Right. Between 10 and 12,000. So he did not disappoint. Were you able to get up close, or was it just a huge crowd and you had to wait in long lines?
Fortunately, we did work it, and then they let us stand in the VIP section.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's great news, Lee, and we appreciate it. And let me turn to our friend Christy. Christy, New York, you walk down the street in Midtown Manhattan, you see a lot of notable people. But the buzz about Donald Trump, for lack of a better term, the star power, in addition to the message he's sending, it seems like there's synergy that really excites people. 20 seconds for your comment on that, Christy.
There absolutely is. I've been to some of his rallies, and the feeling there is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's almost like a sporting event rather than an actual political convention or speech or anything. It's just something that really motivates people, and I think that the polling has shown that even before the FBI news broke that he was catching up in polls, and it was because people were motivated and they're excited for him, and people don't feel that way about Clinton, especially now with this breaking out. They feel that way even less than they did before.
Christi Kunzig at Newsmax New York and Scott Wheeler, Newsmax Washington. Thanks very much for your insights and analysis. Now, when we come back, James Comey in the crosshairs, rhetorically speaking. We'll speak to former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko for his take and have more